ladies and gentlemen, it was in 1969 that the first packets flowed across the internet, and the internet came into existence. So we're looking back now. From my point of view, that was it had been 20 years already that had been happening when I came along, and decided that while the internet was exciting and it was just spreading to the point that it was becoming politically reasonable to use it in Europe in 1989, that was when I felt that the internet was an exciting possibility as a platform on which one could build an information space, and we really needed an information space. So back in 1989, there was no World Wide Web. But we had all the pieces. I was working in a place where people had machines on their desks connected to cables that went into the walls and were eventually connected to internet machines. So it was then that, using the very strong structure of the internet, which had been built by people beforehand, I proposed the protocols, HTML, the language HTML, the HTTP protocol, and URLs that produced the web. So that was 1989, 20 years ago now, looking back on that. It's worth remembering that the thing that made the web work then, the most important thing about it still today, is its universality. The core value that it is one universal space. Two webs doesn't work. It has to be one web. It has to be one web for all sorts of information, not just polished information, crummy information, ideas people have just had. It has to be one web, no matter what hardware you have, no matter where you buy your computer from. And now, more importantly, what sort of device you have, whether you have something like this or something like a laptop. Then people tended to have computers which were very similar, but now we realize that it's important that the web should be one web, no matter which sort of device you use it for, particularly for mobile devices. Then, also in the list of things which I put in there, obviously the web has to be one web globally. So, well, back then, the internet then, from the World Web point of view, did not speak Arabic at that point, because Unicode was not available for me to use, but later on it did. And when XML was created, the XML was defined to use Unicode, and so at that point, the internet spoke Arabic. So, the universality of the web obviously includes its universality when it comes to internationalization. That means not just different characters, not just whether your letters go across this way or across that way or down that way. It means a lot of things also about how different cultures in the world need to be able to use the World Wide Web. Well, 1989, to go historically, then was an idea. It went out, I put it out on the internet, which existed, sending messages out on the internet, and people picked it up. Very soon it started to grow, and by 1993, we really needed something to coordinate it. So in 1994, we formed the World Wide Web Consortium, W3C. That was 15 years ago. W3C, all kinds of people coming together to decide on the future of the World Wide Web protocols. It's sponsored by industry, with, unlike most standard bodies at the time, large technical staff to help things move rapidly, but not just industry, also governments, individuals, academics, all coming to the table in what we now call multi-stakeholder group to produce standards. Originally, HTML, HTTP, URIs, working very closely with the Internet Engineering Task Force, in which we put the HTTP process through. But many other areas have been branched out since then, and there are lots of recommendations that have been produced. In 1997, An important development was we realized we needed to specially recognize the potential that the web had for people with disabilities. We realized that the web was somewhere where instead of it being more difficult, it could in fact be easier in a way for people with disabilities, because on the web we could put out alternative forms of the same material and link them together very easily. So the Web Accessibility Initiative we started back in 1997. After that, we also had an internationalization group, and both the accessibility and the internationalization cut across all the work the W3C has done. So, to make the web progress, to keep it one web, to keep the things which we felt were most important, we had the consortium, which did standards. And standards were and are very important for the web. Open standards. Royalty-free standards. At a certain point, the consortium fell into a trap, and our technology was almost abandoned completely because a member of a working group had hidden the fact that they were going to announce that they wanted to charge royalties. The consortium worked towards what it now has, the royalty-free policy in the way of working. So being royalty-free was very important. As time went on, though, standards didn't seem to be enough. The web is very large. The web has, I'm told, 10 to the power of 11 web pages. That's 10 with 11 zeros. That's about the same number of web pages out there that there are nerve cells in my brain. The trouble is, the number of nerve cells in my brain is going down, and the number of web pages out there is constantly going up. So we realize that we need to study. We study the brain. We need to study the web. We don't really understand its complexity, and some of the people that we knew that are doing really exciting work didn't have a community in which to share that and publish it. So we started talking about web science. And 3 years ago, we started what started as a Web Science Research Initiative and has now recently become the Web Science Trust in order to get people, academics, to think about it. And when we created the Web Science Trust, we had to think about what would be the objective of this thing. Well, we thought, okay, well, web science surely should be that the web should serve humanity to its utmost. Well, that actually made us stop and think. Because we realized that to get the web to serve humanity to its utmost, you need more than science. In fact, we realized that all the people who have been working on the standards, and all the people the academics they knew that were working on the science, were all part of a group who generally aimed at the early adopters. They're the people who had the smartphones, who were using the web. But when you talk about that the web should serve humanity, you immediately have to think about the other 80% of the world at the time who were not using the web at all. And so we thought more broadly. We realized that not only did we need the standards, not only do we need the science, but we also need to think of society in general. We need to think about society, the people who are less privileged, the people who they may be poor, they may be in disconnected rural areas, or they may be poor in urban areas. They may be wealthy, but they may suffer from disabilities. They may be illiterate. And while connected, they're connected to a web which is very text-based. So our conclusion was that we should create a World Wide Web Foundation to think about these things. And in the time, and we have been preparing this foundation for a while, and in the time-honored method of sending a message over the internet, it is my pleasure today, ladies and gentlemen, to officially launch the World Wide Web Foundation here at the IGF. tweet has gone out. So that's how we do it now, ladies and gentlemen. So you are part of a social network, and as it's clear from all the cameras around here. Let me just say a little bit about the Web Foundation. Obviously, it's early days. We're very lucky to have got support from the Knight Foundation, which has given us a grant to be getting started. This is just a bootstrap grant to now allow the foundation really to build up. So it needs to be built up both on the side of bringing funds and also on the side of producing programs. And the main thing which everybody involved in the foundation are doing is learning. Learning about what's needed, learning about all the things which are happening now. Very exciting talking to many of the initiatives which are happening. Many of the people, quite a lot of people who are involved in those initiatives are in this room and in this organization. There will be tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning a Web Foundation workshop in room M5, I think. That may change, look out for it. One of the number of meeting rooms. So there will be a workshop tomorrow morning for people who would like more information about it. But basically, from the point of view of the Web Foundation, when you look at the web, we don't look at it anymore as connected computers, as we used to think of the internet, or we don't look at it as connected web pages, as we used to look at the World Wide Web as a set of connected pieces of information. When you look at the web, if you want to understand why it happens, why somebody follows a link, why somebody makes the link, you're looking at people. So we look at the web now as humanity connected. Humanity connected by technology. We want it to empower people. We want it to do the very best for humanity. So ladies and gentlemen, in that, for that, as a tool, I present to you the World Wide Web Foundation, and I hope that together we can work together and achieve great things. Thank you.